Welcome to the Penguin Magic Podcast. I'm your host, Erik Tait. We have a great show for you this week. The main event is an award-winning performer, the first French female magician to fool Penn and Teller, one of the owners and performers at the Duvivier Magic Theater in Paris, and so much more. Alexandra Duvivier is my guest. We talk about her career, being a legacy in magic, and her theater, where you can earn an actual degree in magic. Nick Lacapo stops by the show to discuss the featured product of the week from Roddy McGee. Before all of that, we start things off with one of our quickfire segments, where your favorite magicians tell me their top 5 tricks, but they have to beat a timer set to just 5 minutes. This week, the mentalist from Montreal, Spidey, joins me for the top 5 under 5. Spidey, thanks so much for joining me here on the Penguin Magic Podcast for the top 5 under 5. Give me your top 5 tricks in under 5 minutes, and these can be in no particular order, but just for the sake of order, let's start with number 5.
Oof. This is politically loaded. I'm going to ignore the stage, because if I had to do stage and close-up, I'd get very confused. So I'm going to just do is that okay if I just do close-up stuff?
It's okay if you just do close-up, but you've already burned 20 seconds.
Oh, no. Okay, here we go. Little door, Roddy McGee.
Amazing trick. You have a deck of cards, you draw a small door on the back, you slide the little door open, and you can see inside, then you close it up, and then the door wipes off. It's amazing.
And with the popularity of the multiverse now, like, there's so many presentations that come to mind.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
I know
That's
what I mean.
So good.
So super visual, super current, super topical. Okay, little door. Second, this isn't a trick, it's just Rindfleisch. Just that's it.
Number 4 is Rindfleisch. Just carry Joe Rindfleisch in your pocket.
Just have him, get his number, FaceTime him. That's it. Like, it's just everything he puts out with rubber bands is the best visual stuff. So Rindfleisch, that's my answer.
Joe Rindfleisch really does do some incredible rubber band magic, and it's every time he comes in here, it's like, hey, we're going to film a project with him, but then it's like there's 19 tricks inside each project,
and they're all amazing.
They're all so good.
Yeah. And just when you think he's done, he's just getting started.
Yeah.
So that's 2. That's 4, I guess. 5, 4, but in no particular order.
Hit me with number 3.
3. I don't know if you heard of this. The Penguin's 2021 best-selling trick, or the best trick of the year. This guy, ABC by Spider or something like that.
Some nerd put that out.
Some
it's
guy,
like a bunch of flash
Canadian.
Tell everybody what ABC is, because it really is a very clever. You shared it with me when we were hanging out at FISM North America, and it's really clever. It's how would you describe it to someone?
I would just say it's a great tool for mentalists. It's under the radar. It looks like this innocent deck of children's flashcards, but there's a secret hidden in plain sight that I promise you, and I'm sure you can corroborate, nobody will ever see it.
It allows to do some pretty direct mind reading.
Immediately.
Yeah.
You know, like no markings. You don't have to see the back of the card. You go through them. Your head is turned. They look at one. They connect with an image. And not only do you instantly know what it is, but the images are very emotion-provoking things on purpose, so that you could do a nice cold read and connect with the emotion, not just the image.
I totally understand. I know it's your own product, but I totally understand why. I mean, like, you put it out, you do it. Let's move on to number 2.
Number 2, Oracle System by Ben Seidman.
So first of all, I love Ben Seidman, and second of all, I love what he's done with the Oracle system.
Incredible.
It's if you've never seen it, it's sort of I guess the best way to describe it is like the ESP matching trick.
It's exactly what it is, but with tarot cards, to where they assign more meaning to each decision. Yeah. So instead of it being a circle or a plus, it's like, you know, love or the devil. So like you're connecting with the thought. Again, very much like ABC, it's giving more meaning to the selection that allows you to connect with the thought. It's a beautiful routine.
If you've never seen it, you each have matching sets of tarot cards, and then they put one down, and then you put one down, and then and the key is they always put their card down first. And
you put yours right.
I'm sorry,
first.
you put yours.
As the performer.
Yeah, the performer always puts their card down first, and then the spectator puts theirs down, and then when the cards are turned over, they match. Yeah. The pattern is perfect. And thanks for correcting me, because that's what makes it so incredible.
Is that you always go first.
Ben has done amazing stuff.
Incredible. Yeah, incredible. And even to magicians, I've done this, and when you connect with those reads, like you get emotions out of people. And then the last one I'm going to mention is my sneak peek, which is my peek with billets. You can instantly have access to information on a billet that they wrote on, or on a business card, a borrowed business card that they wrote on, that it's never in your line of sight.
That's incredible.
You take it from them, it's in your closed hand, you hand it immediately to someone else. Perceivably to them, it's never in your line of sight, the piece of paper. It goes from one person to the other, and the only time you touch it, it's in your closed hand. So the impossibility on that, and it's totally impromptu. You could borrow a business card. I love it. I use it all the time.
You're teaching it in your lecture, right?
I am teaching it in my lecture.
That's so exciting. Well, those are 5 amazing tricks, Spidey. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Top 5 Under 5. Thanks to Spidey for joining me on the show. Be sure to go check out his episode where we discuss YouTube and the ethics of teaching magic in such a public format. It's a fascinating conversation. Now, on to the main event. Alexandra Duvivier is a legacy in magic. She, along with her father, the legendary Dominique Duvivier, owned the Double Fond, an incredible magic theater in Paris just blocks away from the Louvre Art Museum. She's established herself as one of the most in-demand performers in Europe, and her theater offers an actual degree in magic. We sat down after her whirlwind lecture to discuss all of that and more, and now you get to join our conversation. Alexandra Duvivier, thanks so much for joining me here on the Penguin Magic Podcast. We've just finished a weekend of shows and a lecture, and you and I were at FISM together where you performed and lectured, and it is so good to finally sit down with you. Thank you so much for joining us.
You know what? I'm very, very happy and honored. Feel privileged to be here. Like at FISM, for me, it's wow.
It was really fun. Now, I have a number of questions for you, and the first is, tell me about your theater, the Double Fond in Paris, because it's one of the oldest magic theaters in Europe, isn't it?
I don't know for that, but it's now been a while here because, my dad has created that place in 1988, 35 years ago. And it's a place, my dad, always thought that magic is an art and has to have its own place in Paris. Paris is one of the most visited cities in the world. In Los Angeles, you have the Magic Castle dedicated to magic and to every kind of magic. But the Double Fond is dedicated only to close-up magic and parlor magic because it fits 50 seats only. So it packs malls and it's full most of the time because it's small. And my dad, wanted to... we can see an actor doing a play in theater, you can see a singer, but we can't see a magician doing his thing. And I'm telling you that in 1988, it was not fashion. There were not so many magicians out there doing shows. So it was pretty tough because it took him 10 years to just settle down and earn a little bit of money. But he is dedicated to the art, and he has a team surrounding him, me including, but not only. Philippe de Pertuis is a very close friend, and I grew up with him kind of because Philippe de Pertuis took lessons with my dad when he was 14 years old, and we're still working together this day. Like Jean-Pierre, like Sophie Nguyen is still part of the team at the Lingalan. My mother, of course, is here from the first day because they have celebrated their 50th anniversary of wedding.
Wow. That's amazing.
Nowadays, it's crazy, yeah.
And you also, this is what I was thinking of, the magic shop is the oldest continuously running magic. This is what it is. It is the oldest continuously running magic shop in Europe. Can you tell us a little bit about your magic shop?
Yes, please. I would be happy to. Maillette Magie is the oldest. We didn't make the research. Historians has made some research about it, and it's happened to be the oldest shop in the world, 1808.
Wow.
So my dad bought it in 1991. Since then, my friend Cocteau Tran just runs the shop with my husband, Frédéric Raymond too. So it's a family business. We know each other from the Double Fond and from the Maillette shop. It's kind of a reconstructed family, if I can say so. But we know each other for, 30 years at the most, at the least. My husband is working in the shop too. I have been with him for 18 years. So it's, we have to we love magic. And having a shop is nowadays pretty difficult because internet is doing a lot of competitors.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So we have to just take care of it, but we love it.
I'm curious about your own work because in the lecture you mentioned that you started studying magic when you were 15, 16?
True.
And
15.
I'm curious because when did you really start do you feel like you started stepping into your own with magic and performing your own stuff? Because I have to imagine your father is very well known in magic all over the world, particularly in Europe and France where you're from. And I have to imagine that it was a little intimidating.
A lot.
I mean, how did you find yourself establishing your own character? Because you're working quite literally in your father's own shadow.
Yeah, of course. And that's, for many people, it's a problem for them. But has never been a problem for me. Because if my dad was the crookiest magician, the ugliest and the worst magician on earth, I could be ashamed. But come on, walking in the steps of such a magician that has created so many tricks and still creating many tricks a week, it's pretty cool. And, I'm pretty proud. So to deal with that, in fact, it was a good school because there are two ways. I mean, there are many ways to behave in life, but there are two main ways to behave. Either you are pessimistic or you're optimistic. You see bright side or the dark side. And I'm more a bright side girl. Yeah. So, of course, it was tougher to be being the daughter of Dominique Duvivier, but I took it as a challenge and I worked more than the others. Yeah. So it was a good school. And when did I start having my own personality? It took me years, decades. But my dad always pushing me, always trying to lift me up. Because he knew, he saw, I don't know how, but that I had a potential, that I had something to express, and that I could be bright, I just shine on stage. Now, but at the time, I didn't see that, I didn't realize that. And in 2001, he told me, you should do a one-woman show. I said, come on, this is impossible. I won't be able to do that. And he just pushed me, and he wrote me a one-woman show. He asked me, what do you want to say? What's your story? What do you want to say to the audience? And we just worked together, and it just built like a tailor made a suit on you, just perfectly fits. And I've been on stage alone, and I had a blast. I was so terrified first, of course, but it helped me building my own character, and that's what my dad wanted from the beginning. He didn't want me to do Duvivier style because I am a Duvivier. So I have experienced, tried things, different fields, and thanks to working a lot, I have tried my own, my own path.
It sounds like the relationship between you and your father and the relationship that you both have with magic is a very healthy one. That there's a lot of like conversation and give and take, and that there's a lot of ego is set aside.
You're completely right about that. That's a very good point you say, because this is exactly what it is. When we build a show together, we don't say, okay, I am going to be on stage because I need to be. No. The show is the thing that takes it all. And I really see that in Mr. David Copperfield's show. The show is the most important, and my dad is completely like that. He's dedicated to the art. He loves what he does, and it's mind-blowing, and it's very good, it's inspirational to see him and to work with him.
When you are working in your theater, I know that we here at P3 are very spoiled because we have a beautiful theater in the heart of Columbus, Ohio. And it is so much, we can do experimental things. Now, your theater is different because, we obviously sell magic tricks for a living, and so we have a theater that is supported by other things. But you're selling tickets for money. If there's not people in those seats, that theater doesn't stay open.
That's right.
How do you balance putting new stuff and experimental stuff on stage versus the need to make money?
That's a very good question. First, we just work together, like I said, out of the theater with my dad. We just try the trick in front of nobody except my dad or me. We can be the spectator of the other, and see if it's working. And if it stands, we just include it in a show. For instance, we have a 1 hour show, 1 hour and a half show. We just take one trick out of this pretty well constructed show, and we put this experimental trick to see if it's going to work, if it's going to be entertaining because we want to entertain, or no because angles are too, etc. So that's the way we do. But mainly for many years, my dad wanted that as a principle. He wanted us to do 2 different 1 hour and a half shows a year.
Wow, that's a lot.
It took us 6 months to build it. So we were doing that all year long. So I have, negotiated with him to do only one. And then now we are arrived to a point that we have 4 different duo show with completely different material of 1 hour and a half each. And we just turn. 1 week is one, the other week is the second one, and so on. And that's what I do for my magic too, because he always encouraged me to just going further and further again. Always. It's kind of a Dave Vernon thing, type of thinking. He never stops thinking. Never. He still invents nowadays at least 3 to 5 tricks a week. This is amazing, crazy. And so I've done the same thing for my own one-woman shows. I have 3 one-woman shows that I just turn 1 week, 1 week to another. So, and with different materials for close-up magic or parlor magic.
That's an insane work schedule. That's wild.
A bit.
So we were talking yesterday, and I really wanted to come to this subject because I think it's fascinating. Is it the theater or the shop has a course in magic, a study course?
The theater.
The theater.
Yeah.
It's a college level course that is recognized by the Ministry of Labor in France.
This is amazing.
Tell our listeners about that, because this sounds... you can study magic as a college degree in France at the Double Fond.
C'est vrai. It is true.
Sorry to interrupt, but this week the show is brought to you by Stargate from Roddy. In magic, a study course.
The theater.
The theater.
Yeah.
It's a college level course that is recognized by the Ministry of Labor in France.
This is amazing.
Tell our listeners about that, because this sounds... you can study magic as a college degree in France at the Double Fond.
C'est vrai. It is true. We have done it. I have to acknowledge Adeline Galland, who did the whole work. 5 years of work it took her. Because the paperwork in France is insane. So it's that big. I don't know in feet what it makes.
Yeah.
That big.
That's at least 2 feet of paper. Yeah.
Paperwork, but just on each sheet of paper, thinking about magic. What is the job of a magician? What does it implies? So she has done it 5 years, and now we are able to just give a 2 years degree university diploma to some students. So they spend 1 year in our Double Fond, in our theater, because my dad has always given some lessons from scratch, from the 70s, the early 70s, because he always have that passion of just giving the knowledge to others. But finally now it is recognized by the Ministry of Labor. The government just say magic is an art, like theater, dancing, music, and so on. So this is so amazing, so mind-blowing for the recognition of magic as an art.
When was it recognized by the Ministry of Labor?
I think we are in the third. We are doing our fourth promotion, so it was in 2018.
2018. Oh, so it's been going on for quite some time.
Voilà, 4 years. So now we have some diplomas. We have 70% of succeeding.
Wow.
The jury is out of the teachers. We have 7 teachers, French teachers here, and some external teachers that come now and then.
Yeah.
But the jury is 3 magicians. Professional magicians, not old guys that we have taken from the drawer, and just said, come on, wake up. So we have, this year we had David Stone as a jury, like Boris Wilde as a jury, and Jérôme Solou also, that you less know, but he's a very good French magician.
Yeah.
And they were looking at those guys and just putting points on originality, technique, and presentation. Does it worth it?
Yeah.
And it was noted out of 100 points, each trick. So they had 15 tricks to show. The jury there are 5 categories: close-up magic, card magic, parlor, kid, and mentalism.
Wow.
Okay. So they have 15 tricks, 5 tricks, 3 tricks each in each category. Sorry for my English.
That's a rigorous program.
Well, and that's good because, besides stage, we have a few things of stage, but we don't teach stage. Yeah. But we teach them everything about magic. How you enter a room, the eye contact with the audience, how you present yourself, your expression, what is your pattern, what is your what is your character? Of course, the technique, but the technique, it's basic, what you have to learn when you're a magician. So it's a whole course about history of magic, of course, and also how to sell yourself, what are the prices of the market, to have a business card, a website, and so on. So it's very complete.
Yeah. Is there, I'm not terribly familiar with EU law, but is there plans to take this beyond the French Ministry of Labor and into Europe at large?
I don't know about that, but because the thing is that at FISM, it was mentioned in one sentence by Connie Boyd, who did a marvelous lecture on women in magic.
Yes.
It was a great lecture.
There was a wonderful write-up in Vanish magazine as well that
exactly.
I believe you're mentioned in.
Yeah, maybe, and I'm so happy to be mentioned. But the point is that at FISM, they should have said it.
Yeah.
You know why? Because FISM is an international convention held every 3 years. That's the place to say, come on, the first diploma in France is happening, but the thing is that it's the first in France, but unfortunately it's the first in the world. So it has to be continued. This is the beginning. It's only a small opening of the door. Yeah. And it has, the torch has to be given to somebody else, to another country. We have to do it. Other countries must do it.
It's the type of thing that, in the United States, there's a lot of work being done towards allowing us to sort of not patent but protect our intellectual property, because it's really important. This kind of stuff, and
of course,
it's things like this, getting magic recognized as an art form and as a legitimate job by the Ministry of Labor. That it's small steps forward, but it all adds up to getting magic taken very serious. And those things add up and are really important in lots of other areas of our professional lives, and it's really exciting.
So, we are very proud, obviously, because we are the first in the world. But come on, this is not normal. We should be many like this, being able to give a diploma recognized by the state.
Where can people find out more information about this college level program?
On the Doublefond site, doublefond.com, there is a page in English, so you can see all the courses, all the thing we are teaching. So definitively you can go on our Doublefond site.
Well, I will put a link in the description below so that other people can find out about it.
Thank you very much.
Duvivier, thanks so much for joining me here on the podcast.
It was a blast, and thank you very much for your time, and I'm always happy sharing. So thank you for listening to me.
My pleasure.